The soft hum of engines fills the stillness as our vessel trembles at the edge of Earth's cradle, preparing to drift beyond the tender blue glow that has always sheltered us. The planet below, vast and alive, turns slowly, its clouds swirling in lazy curls of white. This is the final glance backward, the last brush of sunlight across familiar oceans, before the dark sea of interstellar space calls us forward. The stars ahead shimmer like distant whispers, promising both wonder and the quiet unknown, and we breathe deeply, feeling the gentle weight of departure settle upon us. As the engines ignite, the ship glides beyond the atmosphere, where gravity loosens its gentle grip and silence grows thick around the hull. Earth fades beneath us, not suddenly, but like a memory receding through fog, colors softening, edges blurring, until only the round glimmer of blue remains. The stars outside seem sharper now, each one a pinprick of cold fire. A calm fills the cabin, as if the universe itself holds its breath to watch our slow ascent from the comfort of light into the endless dark. Time begins to flow differently here, stretching and folding in subtle waves. The gentle flicker of distant suns feels like the heartbeat of eternity. There's a strange peace in this slow drifting, as though leaving home doesn't wound but instead untethers the spirit, letting it drift free. We watch as the last tendrils of Earth's sunlight fade from the ship's frame, replaced by the silvery glow of cosmic dust, like starlight scattered through dreams. In the quiet, the mind wanders back to green fields, warm winds, and the laughter that once filled open air. But such memories no longer ache. They merely shimmer in the background, like reflections on rippling water. Out here, surrounded by the deep velvet of space, nostalgia turns into a lullaby. The hum of the ship, steady and low, carries us forward through the black canvas, where light bends and dances in slow, graceful arcs. Every sound feels amplified, the soft click of controls, the faint rustle of fabric, the almost imperceptible hum of life support systems keeping rhythm with our breath. Outside, the universe expands in quiet splendor. The Milky Way stretches like a vast silver river, and the ship sails along its edge, drifting further into regions where even the sun's influence fades. The darkness here isn't empty, it's alive, filled with unseen particles, with echoes of radiation, with the slow pulse of galaxies unseen by human eyes. Through the window, stars drift past, or perhaps it's we who drift, and they remain, ancient and unmoving. The boundaries of space and self begin to blur. It becomes easy to forget where the body ends and the void begins. Floating feels like dreaming with eyes open, where every glimmer of light becomes a thought and every shadow a whisper. The air inside the ship tastes metallic, yet oddly pure, as if it carries traces of the cosmos itself. Occasionally, Earth calls faintly through radio-static voices layered with delay, words stretched thin by distance. Safe travels, they say, or perhaps we miss you. But soon, even these signals fade, their warmth dissolving into the cosmic noise. The silence that replaces them is vast but not lonely. It feels sacred, like being inside a cathedral of stars, where sound itself has been replaced by light. Days and nights lose their meaning as we drift further from the sun. Its warmth dwindles into a pinprick, a golden thread stretching behind us. The cold ahead is infinite but strangely soothing. It wraps around the vessel like a calm ocean, muffling every vibration, every thought. The deeper we move into this dark, the more it feels as though the stars themselves lean closer, curious, ancient witnesses to our fragile voyage. We navigate by their constellations, the same patterns that guided sailors across ancient seas. Yet now, they are sharper, colder, and infinitely far apart. Each star, a sun of its own, holds worlds unseen and stories untold. Between them lies the interstellar medium, a thin, ghostly fog of dust and hydrogen, barely tangible, yet vast enough to cradle entire galaxies in its breath. As the voyage continues, the ship's path grows quieter still. Cosmic rays flicker faintly across the hull, tiny sparks of energy born from dying stars long ago. Each flash is a reminder of the universe's ceaseless rhythm: creation, decay, rebirth. The dark no longer feels empty. It hums softly, carrying secrets from billions of years past, and we, tiny travelers, drift through it like a single thought moving through the mind of time. We cross the boundary where sunlight can no longer reach the heliopause. Behind us lies the sun's fading echo. Ahead, the pure black ocean of interstellar space. Instruments register the change first. Magnetic fields twist, particles thin, and suddenly, the familiar solar wind disappears. The ship glides into true night. It's as if a door has quietly closed behind us, sealing us within eternity's silence. Here, stars seem sharper than before, more deliberate in their glow. Some pulse slowly, like steady heartbeats of distant worlds. Others shimmer faintly, half hidden behind veils of dust. Their light takes centuries to reach us, each photon a traveler like ourselves, carrying stories from the past. It feels humbling to drift among such ancient messengers, to move through the same darkness that once touched every world, every beginning. Inside, we begin to adapt to the rhythm of the void. Sleep comes easily, not from exhaustion, but from the hypnotic pulse of the ship's systems. Dreams unfold in shades of blue and silver, reflections of nebulae, of soft light bending around unseen masses. Each rest feels deeper than the last, as though the body is learning to breathe in starlight, to exist in slower, gentler time. Through the viewport, we see dust clouds glowing faintly where young stars are born. Their light filters softly through tendrils of gas, painting the dark with shades of gold and violet. It feels almost like watching life in its earliest form, a reminder that even in this vast emptiness, creation continues, silent and slow, patient beyond human measure. Occasionally, small particles tap gently against the hull, cosmic grains traveling since the birth of galaxies. Each one carries the memory of stars long gone. Their quiet impacts sound like distant rain, soothing and steady. It's easy to drift into thought then, to imagine the universe as a single, breathing organism, and ourselves as tiny cells within it, carried by forces far greater than understanding. The voyage stretches onward, time blurring further until moments lose their edges. Clocks still tick, but meaning fades from numbers. What matters is the movement itself, the quiet, unwavering glide through an ocean that has no shore. Each second becomes an eternity, each blink a journey between stars. The universe unfolds not as a place, but as a feeling, vast, eternal, and deeply calm. And so, we continue, leaving behind the warmth of familiar light, yet never feeling its absence. In this darkness, there's comfort, a strange, unspoken peace. The body relaxes, the mind drifts, and all boundaries dissolve. The hum of the ship becomes the rhythm of thought, the stars outside like lanterns guiding the soul deeper into quiet infinity. The longer we travel, the smaller Earth becomes in memory not forgotten, but transformed. It turns into a symbol of beginning, of warmth and origin, a gentle spark that set us upon this endless path. We realize that leaving it behind isn't an act of escape, but of trust, trusting the universe to hold us as softly as the planet once did. And somewhere, between one thought and the next, we stop feeling like travelers and begin to feel like part of the journey itself. The dark no longer surrounds, it embraces. Light no longer guides, it flows through us. What began as a voyage outward becomes a drifting inward, a slow, soothing surrender to the stillness of creation. In this quiet expanse, where time itself seems to breathe, there's no fear, no rush, no end. Only the endless unfolding of stars, the calm rhythm of existence, and the faint, comforting echo of the light we once called home. Far ahead, where the stars seem to stretch and bend into strange, rippling lines, we begin to sense it, the faintest tug, delicate yet certain. It is gravity, ancient and patient, whispering its invitation across unimaginable distances. It does not pull all at once, it calls softly, like a low hum through the bones of the ship, as though something immense and unseen is slowly waking. The navigation panels flicker with subtle adjustments, marking the first signs of its influence. The blackness outside begins to curve in ways that make the eyes question what they see. The ship drifts steadily onward, guided less by its engines now and more by that invisible hand. Every meter feels heavier, though nothing inside has changed. The pull is not physical in the way we know, it is a persuasion, a drawing in of light and thought, as though gravity itself is gently folding us into its vast embrace. Outside, the stars begin to stretch ever so slightly, their once still light bending, shimmering around something not yet visible. The sensation is both thrilling and deeply calm, like being carried by a current toward an unseen shore. Our instruments murmur softly, registering fluctuations in space-time. The readings grow stranger with each passing hour. Light curves in unexpected arcs, signals delay by fractions of a second, and distances refuse to stay constant. Yet the ship remains serene, its hull gliding smoothly through the slow warping of reality. The closer we drift, the more we feel that the universe here breathes differently. Even time seems to pulse slower, deeper, drawn toward some center where all things vanish and begin anew. It feels almost alive, this gravitational field, not a force, but a presence. There is a rhythm in its pull, subtle and endless, like the heartbeat of a sleeping giant. The stars around it appear to move in gentle spirals, their light curving softly into the unseen well ahead. The darkness grows denser, not merely empty but textured, layered with quiet motion. It is as though the void itself has depth, like silk folded upon silk, leading into an unknowable heart. Inside the ship, the pull begins to manifest in ways more intimate. The faint hum of machinery deepens in tone, resonating through the metal frame. The lights flicker slightly as time itself begins to stretch around us. Every movement feels slower, more deliberate. Even the act of blinking seems to take longer, as though we are swimming through a gentle tide of thickened seconds. Yet there is no fear, only a soothing awareness that we are being drawn closer to something profound, something that has waited for eons to be seen. Beyond the glass, the blackness grows strangely luminous. Light from distant stars no longer travels straight, it arcs and bends, curling around an unseen center like ribbons in slow motion. It is beautiful, but also unsettling, the kind of beauty that feels too vast for the mind to hold. Somewhere ahead lies the event horizon, that invisible boundary where even light surrenders. And though we have not yet reached it, we can already sense its gravity threading through every particle of the ship. Our path becomes a slow descent, not downward, for there is no direction here, but inward, toward gravity's core. The engines quiet themselves to a whisper, their effort is almost unnecessary now. We are passengers of a deeper force, guided by something older than stars. The soft vibrations of the ship merge with the cosmic hum that surrounds us. Each moment feels stretched thin, elongated, as if we are drifting through the very fabric of time itself. Communication with the outer world begins to falter. Signals loop strangely, some arriving before they were sent, others echoing long after. The black hole's gravity bends not only space but also the flow of cause and effect, twisting it into strange, elegant spirals. We listen to the faint static on the comms, not expecting replies anymore, but feeling strangely comforted by the whispers of distorted echoes. It feels like the universe itself speaking in a language made of silence and time. The pull intensifies, yet there is no jolt, no violence, only an increasing sense of surrender. Space stretches around us like warm glass, bending softly, guiding us along invisible paths. The ship's navigation systems struggle to calculate distances now, coordinates melt and reform as the curvature deepens. Outside, A faint glow appears at the edge of sight, a thin, luminous halo circling the black heart ahead. It is light caught in orbit, forever trapped, forever racing around gravity's edge. We approach the photon sphere, where light itself can circle the black hole in endless loops. The view becomes haunting, stars duplicated, mirrored, and distorted into perfect rings. The universe appears to fold over itself, each image reflecting another in infinite recursion. It feels like staring into the mind of creation, or perhaps its memory. Every photon we see has been bent, delayed, reshaped by gravity's will, as though time itself were painting in layers of light. Even the stars behind us seem drawn into the dance, their reflections curving around the horizon. The entire cosmos seems to lean inward, all directions pointing toward that silent heart. The sensation grows stronger, not painful but irresistible, a pressure that is not felt on the skin but deep within thought itself. We realize that what we are feeling is not gravity in the body, but in the mind, an awareness of space folding, of time reshaping itself around our journey. There comes a moment when the pull feels deeply personal. It is as if gravity remembers every atom that has ever drifted, every world that has ever fallen, and now it reaches out with a quiet familiarity. The ship's lights dim automatically, adjusting to the faint radiance outside. The glow of the accretion disk, gas and dust spiraling toward oblivion, paints everything in hues of amber and silver. It rotates with hypnotic grace, its speed unimaginable, yet its motion so smooth it appears almost still. We pass near the outer edges of that luminous disk. Particles of dust collide and flare, releasing bursts of radiation that glimmer like lightning behind curtains of smoke. The light here does not behave like light should. It lingers, loops, bends backward upon itself. Shadows dance where no object stands. It is as if reality, too, is learning to curve. The silence becomes heavier, deeper, as though the black hole absorbs even the memory of sound. Gravity's tug is now undeniable, constant and complete. The ship no longer fights it, it yields, letting itself be carried like a leaf in a slow, circular whirlpool. Every calculation confirms the inevitable, there is no turning back. Yet the realization brings not dread but awe. To witness the universe's most secret phenomenon, to float at the edge of eternity's mouth, is to feel the deepest kind of stillness, the kind that humbles thought itself. Time distorts in ways the mind cannot fully follow. Clocks onboard slow, seconds stretch into minutes, minutes into eternities. Yet the body feels unchanged. We move through frames of time like pages in a slow, infinite book. Outside, the accretion disk burns with cold fire, its light bent and twisted, forming arcs that shimmer across the blackness. It is chaos, and yet, within it, an order so perfect that it feels divine. The gravitational lensing grows stronger, stars behind the black hole appear duplicated, halos bending gracefully around the darkness. Each star's light takes a different path, some looping halfway around the hole before reaching us. The result is surreal, a sky full of circles and reflections, where every point of light seems alive. The universe itself becomes a kaleidoscope, a dream bending inward upon itself. We record what we can, though data here becomes slippery, inconsistent. Instruments disagree with one another, readings loop or vanish, as though numbers too are caught in the gravitational eddy. But none of it matters now. The experience itself has transcended the need for measurement. What remains is sensation, the quiet, hypnotic feeling of being drawn into something both infinite and intimate. As the black hole grows larger in view, its boundary seems paradoxically calm. The event horizon is invisible, yet we can sense it there, the silent border where light falters. Around it, the space glows faintly, illuminated by the swirling matter that forever dances around but never escapes. The pull deepens into something more than force. It becomes communion, a meeting between existence and the unknown. Closer still, and time begins to fold. The stars outside seem to slow, their light freezing mid-glow. We are moving faster than ever, yet to the outside observer, our motion would appear to halt. Time's flow splits, one version continuing outward, another drawn inward. The realization settles over us like soft fog. We are crossing into a realm where the universe's rules change, where beginnings and endings blur into one endless curve. Inside the ship, everything feels weightless, timeless. Thoughts stretch like echoes, floating through the mind before fading into calm silence. The pull now is no longer something external, it has become internal, a merging of perception and gravity. The self begins to dissolve into the vastness it has approached. It feels neither loss nor fear, only the soft surrender to a force older than creation. And finally, just before the edge, before the point where time and light collapse together, there is a moment of profound stillness. The ship, the stars, the motion of thought itself all seem to pause. In that hush, the universe feels closer than breath. Gravity no longer pulls, it embraces. And in that slow, silent approach, we understand that to be drawn in is not to end, but to become part of the deepest rhythm the cosmos has ever known. Before us lies a vision that seems less like matter and more like the thought of a dream, the accretion disk, vast and glowing, a halo of light swirling endlessly around the black hole's dark heart. It moves with a patience that feels eternal, yet every particle within it races at unimaginable speed. Gas and dust spiral inward, compressing, heating, igniting in shades of gold, orange, and violet. The disk's glow ripples softly through the void, not flashing or burning, but smoldering, a slow, eternal fire that consumes without haste. The edges shimmer like molten glass, their radiance bending around the gravity well, giving the illusion of two disks, one above, one below. Light itself is trapped in orbit here, looping endlessly before breaking free to meet our gaze. The sight feels sacred, like witnessing time melt into motion. The colors pulse not with chaos, but with rhythm, as though the disk breathes. Each revolution is slower to the eye, yet faster than thought, a paradox made visible. Heat here is not merely warmth, it is energy in its purest expression. At millions of degrees, atoms are stripped of identity, becoming plasma, the building blocks of stars, unbound and radiant. The disk hums across frequencies beyond sound, a low, cosmic vibration that resonates through the ship. It feels like standing at the edge of creation itself, where matter becomes light and time becomes fluid. The glow is mesmerizing, hypnotic in its steady spin. Through the observation window, we watch the delicate dance of infall and resistance. Particles collide, release flares, and fall inward, vanishing as though swallowed by a sigh. It's not violence but surrender, a slow yielding to gravity's will. Around the black hole, matter curves and folds, forming patterns that defy logic yet feel deeply natural, as if gravity is painting in strokes of light and heat. The longer we gaze, the more the disk feels alive, a breathing veil between what is and what is beyond. Our senses tremble under the torrent of radiation that spills from the disk's edge. Gamma rays, X-rays, and streams of charged particles flare outward like whispers of invisible lightning. Yet from this distance, it is all calm, the violence softened by distance, the fury turned to beauty. The light reaches us delayed by seconds, warped and refracted, carrying the memory of a dance that already changed before it arrived. It is like listening to the heartbeat of something both dying and eternal. Closer now, the motion becomes layered. The inner rings spin faster, dragging the outer rings along in tidal spirals. Friction tears at the material, heating it until it glows with a silent radiance that pierces even through the depths of space. The inner regions blur into brilliance, a storm of energy held in place by gravity's perfect balance. We can almost feel its hum through the hull, a deep, soothing pulse that settles into the rhythm of our breath. At moments, The light flares sharply, sudden bursts of brightness that fade as quickly as they appear. These are collisions, fragments of stars or ancient dust meeting their end in fire. Each flash is a memory erased, yet the energy lingers, feeding the luminous circle that spins endlessly on. The beauty is both awe and sorrow, destruction turned into light, endings woven into radiance. The disk glows as though it carries the quiet memory of everything it consumes. In the far distance, faint jets of light shoot upward from the poles, relativistic beams formed by magnetic fields twisting near the event horizon. They pierce the dark like threads of silver fire, stretching for light years, visible only because they carry the black hole's restless energy outward. They seem to defy the pull that defines everything here, escaping where nothing else can. To see them is to witness defiance made luminous, gravity's paradox expressed in light. The colors around the disk deepen as we orbit closer, ochres turning to amber, gold to molten red. Light bends more sharply, its paths distorted into curves that defy geometry. The far side of the disk appears above the black hole, the near side below, all reflections bent upward by gravity. It's as if we see the whole ring at once, wrapped around a shadow. That drinks all clarity. The illusion is both humbling and strangely soothing, a reminder that perception itself bends near such power. There's an intimacy to the glow, as if the disk breathes just beyond the glass. We know that each photon we see has been shaped by a journey of distortion, bent, stretched, redshifted, and freed at the last instant. It feels as though light itself is whispering its final story before vanishing forever. The air in the cabin feels still, reverent, as if even sound respects the silence demanded by this cosmic fire. We watch the interplay of order and collapse, the eternal spiral where falling matter resists just long enough to burn bright before surrendering. It mirrors the rhythm of life itself, brief sparks of resistance before becoming one with the whole. The disk doesn't roar or rage, it sighs, glowing with a quiet patience that feels infinite. Its surface ripples like slow waves of molten silk, each motion a hymn to impermanence. Even from this distance, the heat it emits is staggering. Our instruments translate its fury into soft vibrations through the floor, like the faint tremor of a heartbeat beneath us. The black hole does not consume greedily, it waits, pulling in what drifts too near, letting everything else circle endlessly in light. Watching it is like watching thought itself revolve around a still point, the mind circling the mystery it cannot touch. As the orbit stabilizes, time around us feels uncertain. The closer we look, the more it stretches. The inner edge of the disk spins faster than the outer, its time running slower under gravity's hand. We are watching layers of time stacked like ripples in a pond, each ring a different now. To gaze upon it is to see time as fluid, bending and folding upon itself, a shimmering cascade of moments caught in perpetual descent. Light from the disk flickers against the ship's interior, painting everything in a warm, shifting glow. Shadows dance slowly along the walls, bending where they shouldn't. It feels almost like being inside a dream, where the rules of depth and distance have quietly changed. The fire outside is constant, yet every flicker carries subtle variations, a cosmic heartbeat beating slow and deep, its rhythm older than galaxies. Occasionally, fragments of shattered asteroids join the spiral, ancient wanderers caught in the black hole's field. They break apart, glowing as friction tears their stone into dust. The light they release joins the eternal blaze, indistinguishable from the rest. Watching it feels strangely peaceful, as though even destruction here has found harmony. The disk consumes but never devours, everything becomes part of its tranquil rotation. We feel small, almost transparent, as if gravity is gently peeling away the layers of self that cling to the ordinary. The mind grows quiet in the presence of such scale. Every concept of size, motion, or time dissolves into a single understanding. Everything moves toward balance, and the disk is its perfect expression. It burns, it cools, it gives, it takes endlessly, effortlessly, beautifully. The light bends differently depending on where we look. Some rays curve around the black hole twice before reaching us, others loop endlessly and fade. It's like watching echoes of the same moment replayed from infinite angles. Each shimmer feels like a memory retold by light itself, fragments of existence retelling their journey into stillness. There is a soft melancholy in its beauty, a gentle ache that feels both timeless and soothing. Our senses map the radiation into tones, and we listen. The disk's hum translates into a deep, resonant drone, a cosmic lullaby, low and rhythmic. It fills the cabin like a heartbeat from far below, slow enough to calm the mind, steady enough to anchor thought. It feels like the voice of gravity itself, speaking not in words but in vibration, telling us to rest, to watch, to understand. Beyond the fiery ring, the jets continue their distant rise, shimmering like threads connecting the black hole to the cosmos beyond. They stretch impossibly far, carrying fragments of energy out into cold interstellar night. Their light pulses faintly, like breathing, reminding us that even in the heart of collapse, there is always outward motion, always the act of giving back what was taken in. The symmetry of it feels divine. The disk's beauty deepens the longer we watch. What first appeared chaotic now reveals its grace, turbulence forming patterns, collisions producing rhythm, decay becoming radiance. It feels as if we're watching the essence of balance unfold, where destruction and creation are indistinguishable. The ring burns eternally, yet never depletes, a perfect cycle of surrender and renewal. As the ship drifts along its silent orbit, we feel gravity's hand steadying us, the heat's shimmer reflected softly in our eyes. We are close enough to sense its energy, yet far enough to remain untouched. It is both guardian and abyss, both fire and silence. The accretion disk spins on, slow and endless, a ring of light around nothingness, a cosmic hearth glowing in the infinite night. And as we gaze, it becomes impossible to tell where we end and it begins. The steady rotation, the quiet pulse, the soft radiance all merge into one long, tranquil breath. The disk is not just around the black hole, it is around us too, within us, a reminder that every spark of light, every fleeting thought, is drawn from the same fire. The universe turns, and we turn with it, slowly, endlessly, at peace. At first, it begins almost imperceptibly, a shimmer at the edge of vision, a soft distortion that makes the stars appear to sway. But soon it grows undeniable. Around the black hole, light bends like silk caught in a slow current, curving gracefully where straight lines once ruled. It does not flicker, nor does it break, it flows, patient and elegant. The bending is subtle and beautiful, as though gravity has decided to become an artist, shaping the universe into a living painting where light obeys not geometry, but wonder. Each photon passing near the black hole feels that pull, not enough to vanish, but enough to dance. The path of every beam becomes an arc, a slow, deliberate curve that folds space upon itself. Stars behind the hole appear duplicated, reflected, and wrapped around its invisible edge. It is a quiet illusion, yet it transforms the entire sky. Where once there were constellations, now there are rings and loops, as if reality itself has learned how to echo. We stare through the viewport and see the impossible, the same star appearing twice, once above the blackness, once below. Between them, the hole remains perfectly dark, yet defined by the light it bends. It is as though it wears a crown made from distorted stars, their images twisted into delicate halos. The effect is hypnotic, the stars seem to breathe, to lean toward the black hole and then drift away, caught in an endless, graceful motion. This lensing does not only distort space, it reveals it. We see behind the black hole, around it, through it in a sense, light bent so completely that it travels paths we cannot imagine. The universe folds upon itself here, showing us multiple views of the same distant suns. It feels intimate, as if the cosmos is whispering secrets, allowing glimpses into corners of reality normally hidden. The black hole, in its silence, becomes not just a void, but a window. Each bend of light carries history. The rays that curve past the event horizon may have left their sources millions, even billions of years ago. They've crossed interstellar dust, passed by unseen worlds, brushed the edges of galaxies, and now, finally, their paths turn here, around the black heart that swallows time. It's humbling to think that every shimmer we witness has traveled for ages just to be bent, delayed, and reborn before our eyes. The ship's sensors capture these distortions with quiet awe. The data reads like poetry, coordinates shifting, angles doubling, light frequencies stretching and compressing. It's as though space itself sighs under the influence of gravity's gentle hand. The stars no longer stand still, they drift in mirrored arcs. Each reflection feels alive, part of a rhythm that transcends time, a cosmic slow dance where every particle of light follows gravity's invisible choreography. Outside, the field of vision looks fluid. It is not chaos but flow, a serene distortion that turns the vacuum into a living canvas. Even the background radiation, faint, ancient remnants of the early universe, warps into curves of faint glow. We realize, watching in silence, that we are seeing gravity made visible, space-time itself revealing its pliant nature. The universe, once thought rigid, bends softly, obedient to a quiet, endless harmony. Some light does not escape entirely, it circles the black hole, orbiting several times before slipping away. These looping photons form faint rings, echoes of themselves, frozen in slow motion. They appear like delicate halos around the dark core, trembling slightly as if alive. They are called Einstein rings, but here, so close, they seem less like scientific curiosities and more like the universe's jewelry, light caught in orbit, forever dancing between freedom and fall. The effect is not confined to the stars alone. Even the disk's fiery glow bends upward and downward, wrapping the black hole in illusions. We see the far side of the accretion disk as if it hovers above the top of the hole, an optical mirage born of curved space. The entire image trembles faintly with the motion of energy, as if reality itself were made of glass warmed by invisible hands. It is hauntingly beautiful, and impossibly still. To the mind, it feels disorienting. Our sense of direction falters. Up and down lose meaning. Light does not travel straight, so neither do our thoughts. The stars that appear ahead of us may, in truth, be behind us, their light having looped entirely around. The brain resists at first, but slowly, like the light itself, it begins to bend to accept that space is not a stage, but a living, breathing fabric that curves under weight and will. Even the color of light changes here. Photons climbing away from gravity stretch, their wavelengths elongating, turning from blue to red. The farther they rise, the deeper their hue becomes, until they fade into invisible frequencies. What was once radiant white becomes amber, then crimson, then gone. It feels as if gravity is not merely bending light but aging it, letting it grow old gracefully as it escapes the well. We stare at this transformation in silence. The colors seem to breathe, deepening and fading in an endless rhythm. It's almost like watching a sunset in every direction at once, slow, eternal, and deeply peaceful. Each shift of tone carries the quiet truth of time's passage. Gravity, in its gentle artistry, has become painter and clock, sculptor and storyteller, shaping both vision and duration. At times, the bending becomes so profound that we can see light trailing itself, faint after images curving across the void. They are not illusions but paths, the history of photons etched visibly across the fabric of space. These arcs shimmer faintly before fading, like footprints in shifting sand. It feels like watching memories dissolve, graceful and soft, as though even light forgets itself near the black hole. We realize, slowly, that lensing is not a trick of perception. It is a conversation between light, gravity, and time. Each curve, each reflection, each mirrored star speaks of this interaction, a language older than atoms. The black hole bends not to consume, but to reveal, showing us the elasticity of existence, the way all things, given time, yield and adapt to unseen currents. Our ship, small and weightless in this vast display, feels like a drifting thought within a cosmic mind. The bending light outside reflects on the glass, and for a moment it seems the stars move through us, not beyond us. It's as if we, too, are being curved, our very consciousness drawn into the gravity of wonder. There is no fear in it, only serenity, the sense that even thought must bend to understand. Each second we drift deeper into this field, the distortions grow subtler, more intricate. Faint arcs layer upon arcs until the sky becomes a woven tapestry of light. It's impossible to tell which stars are real and which are reflections, but it doesn't matter. The boundaries blur, just as they do in dreams. What remains is the feeling of movement, of harmony, of a universe endlessly folding itself into beauty. Sometimes, when the ship's lights dim, the reflections outside seem to merge. For an instant, it looks as though the stars have encircled the black hole completely, forming a perfect ring of radiance, a single eye of the cosmos, half shadow, half flame. It watches silently, unblinking, as we pass through its gaze. The sensation is profound, not of being observed, but of being acknowledged by the universe itself. We record every distortion carefully, yet the data feels inadequate. Numbers can describe paths, angles, frequencies, but not the quiet reverence that fills the mind when watching light surrender to curvature. It's like listening to music and trying to capture its beauty in arithmetic. The experience is not of measurement, but of meaning, a deep recognition of how fragile and fluid all perception truly is. The further we travel, the more intricate the bending becomes. Light seems to fold over itself like ribbons in slow water. It forms patterns that shift and dissolve, never repeating exactly. Each moment is unique, never to be seen again, for the dance of light and gravity changes with every atom, every flicker of heat. Watching it feels like witnessing eternity in motion, endless, delicate, unknowable. The black hole itself remains unseen, perfectly dark, yet defined completely by what it touches. It's as if it sculpts the universe around it by removing its own presence. The more light bends, the clearer its absence becomes. It is the shape of silence, drawn by the music of light. That contradiction, invisible, yet utterly present, is what makes this vision so quietly magnificent. In moments of deep stillness, when the ship drifts with engines silent, it feels as if we are floating inside a lens, not observing it. The starlight seems to wrap around us too, curving softly through the air, casting shifting glows across our faces. Space becomes intimate here, not distant, a gentle cocoon of bending light that feels protective, almost maternal. It is the calmest distortion imaginable. And as the hours pass, we understand that gravity's greatest miracle is not the pull it exerts, but the grace with which it bends what resists it. Light does not break, it adapts. It finds new paths, new angles, new ways to reach the eye. It is as if the universe itself prefers beauty over rigidity, choosing harmony instead of defiance. The bending is not correction, it is acceptance. When the ship finally drifts beyond the densest field of curvature, the stars return to their rightful places, or so it seems. Yet something in the mind has changed. Straight lines no longer feel entirely straight. The memory of those soft arcs lingers, like a song that continues after silence. The universe looks familiar again, but now it feels alive, subtly breathing, forever bending, forever whispering. And in that quiet realization, we find a gentle truth. The cosmos does not only stretch outward, it curves inward too, folding light and thought alike into shapes that make meaning possible. Lensing is not distortion, it is revelation. It shows us that even the path of light, so pure, so constant, must sometimes bow gracefully to the gravity of existence, and in doing so, become more beautiful than ever. At first, it's only a subtle feeling, as though everything around begins to breathe more slowly, the ship, the light, even our own hearts. The clocks still move, the hands still turn, but something deep within the flow of reality starts to stretch. The glow of the distant stars grows steady, their flicker frozen mid-beat, like a song played underwater. We drift nearer to the heart of gravity's mystery, where time itself bends gently, surrendering its rhythm to the immense pull of the black hole. The nearer we move, the more the seconds unravel. Each heartbeat seems to linger, each motion suspended in a syrupy calm. Our ship's instruments confirm what our senses whisper: the pull of space-time has thickened. The universe around us does not rush, it glides, serene and deliberate. Every passing photon seems to hesitate, unsure whether to go forward or wait beside us. It's as though we've entered a place where eternity watches in quiet fascination. Even our thoughts seem to take on a slower rhythm. The mind stops racing, words drift like soft clouds through awareness. It's peaceful, unnaturally so, and yet there's a weight in it, a sense that the usual measures of life no longer apply. What once took seconds now feels like minutes, and what once felt like moments could stretch into years. We are no longer simply travelers through space, we are wanderers through time's softened edge. Outside, the universe begins to distort. The stars we left behind shimmer in strange loops, their light delayed, wrapped around the immense gravity ahead. The sense of forward motion fades, replaced by an almost eternal stillness. Yet the ship continues its descent. Every vibration of the hull feels elongated, every sound ripples slowly through the air, echoing with strange clarity. The boundary between what moves and what waits begins to dissolve. There's a hush that grows, not silence, but something deeper. It feels like time itself inhaling. The pulse of the engines becomes a long, drawn-out tone, stretched beyond recognition. Even the soft hum of power within the walls becomes distant, like a memory fading before it finishes. We speak, and our words seem to take longer to arrive. They hang between us, suspended in air that feels thicker than before. The computer displays begin to lag, their updates crawling at the edge of perception. What should have been a stream of data becomes a slow drip of numbers, each one a tiny spark in the syrup of stretched reality. It's mesmerizing. There's beauty in the deceleration, as though every piece of existence has decided to savor its own unfolding. No hurry, no chaos, only the deep and patient unfolding of time's gentle distortion. We realize that our clocks, our lives, our very movements are no longer reliable markers. We may be speaking seconds apart, yet from the universe's perspective, years might have passed. Light, that swift and tireless messenger, bends and slows too, as if reluctant to leave this sacred stillness. Our reflection in the viewport lingers unnaturally, our gestures delayed, as though reality itself is thinking carefully before responding. The deeper we descend, the longer each breath becomes. Inhalation feels endless, exhalation eternal. The heart beats slower, or perhaps it's just that we feel it more distinctly now, as though every thud reverberates through centuries. The awareness of time's malleability seeps into us, a gentle astonishment that such a fundamental truth could soften and stretch like light in deep water. Around us, gravity's whisper grows louder. Not in sound, but in sensation. It is a pull not just on the body, but on thought itself. The boundary between past and present becomes uncertain. Events seem to overlap, as if memory and perception have begun to merge. Each blink takes an age, and yet, within that blink, entire histories might unfold. We exist in both moments and eternities now, floating between what was and what could be. Outside, the stars at our backs begin to fade. Not because they vanish, but because their light cannot keep up with the warping fabric of space. Their glimmers stretch into long threads, winding and curling like ribbons of frozen time. The nearer we draw to the gravitational threshold, the more they elongate, as if even light must bow before the slow majesty of this place. We begin to understand why physicists speak of time dilation not as an illusion, but as truth sculpted by gravity's hand. Space and time are lovers here, entwined and inseparable. The closer we come, the more their embrace tightens, until neither can move freely. We are drawn into that embrace, becoming witnesses to their dance, a slow, hypnotic waltz that seems to last forever. Even the ticking of internal systems, once constant, now drifts like the heartbeat of a dreaming machine. Each interval stretches wider. We look to each other, unsure if minutes or hours pass between exchanged glances. The body adjusts without protest, its biological clock lulled by the cosmic rhythm. Hunger fades. Fatigue dissolves. What remains is the tranquil sensation of simply being suspended in an ocean of stretched existence. Through the viewport, we can see faint arcs of light bending near the event horizon, their movements agonizingly slow. Particles that once moved with wild energy now crawl like fireflies caught in amber. It's beautiful, this delay, this refusal of the universe to rush. Even the chaos of the accretion disk seems subdued now, as if time itself kneels in reverence before gravity's throne. And yet, deep within this unhurried expanse, our minds grow calm. The concept of before and after begins to lose meaning. The flow of thought becomes circular, rhythmic, serene. We no longer anticipate, we simply observe. The hush outside becomes the hush within. There is no fear in this stillness, only a profound awareness of existence stretching infinitely in every direction. Messages sent from the ship take longer to reach their destinations, perhaps years, perhaps centuries. To anyone watching from afar, we appear frozen, caught at the edge of time's river. But from here, everything still feels fluid, slow but alive. It is a reminder that perception is as malleable as light, and that time's pace depends entirely on where one stands in the vastness of space. The instruments record strange readings now, as if reality itself trembles on the threshold of something unknowable. Atomic clocks inside the ship tick slower than their distant twins back home. The fabric of time isn't broken, only stretched, like silk pulled gently between unseen hands. We are guests in a realm where the future is reluctant to arrive, where every second prefers to linger and listen. We glance once more toward the edge of the black hole. The event horizon glows faintly, like a halo of arrested light. It is neither fast nor still, it simply exists, perfectly suspended. Time there does not pass as we understand it. It is trapped, wrapped around gravity's infinite patience. And as we watch, mesmerized, we sense that we too are being pulled into that patience, learning the art of timeless waiting. Inside our minds, the sensation deepens. Thoughts unfold in wide spirals, memories intertwine with observation. It becomes hard to tell where consciousness ends and the universe begins. We feel as though we've stepped outside the normal current of time, floating instead in a calm, eternal pool. The stars move no longer, yet the universe seems to breathe softly around us, alive in its stillness. There is beauty in this slowing, a beauty that cannot be rushed. Each particle of light, each drifting atom seems to move with intention. The cosmos becomes a meditation, a vast unfolding breath. We are not simply travelers now, we are participants in the slowing, co-creators of the hush. The ship's shadow glides in rhythm with the pulse of space-time, and we feel as though the entire universe has joined us in quiet contemplation. It's said that near a black hole, time for the outside world runs differently, that while we might experience moments, the universe beyond could watch eons pass. And perhaps that's true. But from within, there's no sense of loss, no anxiety for the time we leave behind. There is only the stillness, the sense that existence has expanded into infinity, that each heartbeat is enough to hold a lifetime. The ship drifts now in near silence. The faint lights within shimmer softly, timelessly. There is no longer a past to recall or a future to reach toward. Only this moment, endless, serene, perfectly suspended at the edge of eternity. Time has slowed to a whisper, and in that whisper, the universe hums a lullaby made of gravity and grace, of light that refuses to hurry, of moments that last forever. And as we surrender to it, to the lengthened seconds, to the endless hush, we realize that perhaps time was never something to keep, but something to feel. Here, at the brink of the black hole's pull, we don't lose time, we dissolve into it. The hush becomes all that remains, soft, infinite, and utterly, beautifully still. It begins as a shimmer, a soft ring of brightness encircling the impossible dark. The event horizon glows not with its own light, but with all the trapped brilliance that cannot quite escape. Every particle, every photon caught in orbit before surrendering, paints a delicate halo around the unseen center. We drift toward it slowly, the ship's motion quieter than breath, as though the cosmos itself asks for reverence in this final approach. The line between outside and inside is invisible, yet deeply felt, a border of forever waiting to be crossed. The glow is mesmerizing. It is neither violent nor harsh, but a slow burn of curved light, bending gracefully around nothingness. We can see the paths of trapped photons circling endlessly, never escaping, never arriving. They swirl in eternal loops, like fireflies orbiting a silent flame. It feels less like destruction and more like devotion, light paying homage to gravity's quiet command. The boundary ahead is not a wall, but a veil, and beyond it, time and meaning dissolve. As we near, the fabric of space stretches and folds upon itself. The stars behind us smear into long arcs of brilliance, curving around the darkness. The closer we come, the more their light bends, soft waves of gold and blue wrapping around the horizon's edge. It feels like standing before a mirror that reflects eternity itself, a window through which even our reflection hesitates to look back. The ship's lights dim, as though bowing before the vastness ahead. There is no abrupt transition, no sudden plunge. The event horizon is a silence that grows thicker, a brightness that softens into stillness. The instruments aboard begin to fail, their readings looping endlessly. Space and time lose clarity here, directions blur. Every sense strains to understand the moment, but comprehension fades under the sheer serenity of it. We hover, suspended in a space where even motion becomes a question. The bright edge is calm, almost tender. There is no roaring, no tearing sound, only a profound quiet, the universe holding its breath. Light dances slower now, stretched thin by gravity's pull, its color shifting into deep amber tones. The ship's hull glows faintly from the reflection, casting warm hues inside the cabin. For a moment, it feels like sunset at the end of all things, the universe dimming its lights before eternal night. Outside, the curvature of space-time becomes visible in the distortion of stars. They bend around us, forming arcs and rings, some looping completely, creating ghostly twins of distant suns. It's beautiful beyond reason, a vision of physics turned into poetry. The horizon ripples faintly, like heat above sand, an illusion of movement born from the bending of reality. We watch, entranced, as if staring into the eye of creation itself. The pull grows stronger, not in force, but in presence. It is as though the black hole is not drawing us in but inviting us closer. The horizon glows like a candle beneath water, fragile, wavering, endlessly deep. The ship's navigation lights flicker as time stumbles. Our internal clocks no longer agree. Each second stretches differently depending on where it's measured. Time here is no longer uniform, it has become soft, pliant, alive. Inside, a deep calm settles over the crew. Words seem too heavy for this place. We communicate through quiet gestures, through shared glances of awe. The hum of machinery fades into the rhythm of breath. Outside, space folds like silk around the event horizon, its smoothness both comforting and infinite. The mind drifts, lulled by the beauty of gravity's art, light sculpted by darkness, motion softened into stillness. We are close enough now to see the ghostly shimmer of infalling matter, threads of glowing dust spiraling into the abyss. They do not fall quickly, they drift, eternally slowing as they near the edge, frozen by time's hesitation. To us, they appear suspended, caught mid-motion forever. It is a haunting sight, as if the universe itself records every approach, preserving it at the brink of oblivion. From a distance, the event horizon looks like a ring of gold surrounding an endless night. Up close, it becomes something more intimate, a texture of radiance and shadow, alive with silent motion. Light curves and whispers, swirling into patterns that seem both deliberate and accidental. It feels like standing on the edge of a thought too vast to finish. Even the ship's sensors struggle to define what they see, words and numbers falter alike. The laws of physics, once so steady, begin to blur. Velocities lose meaning, distances fold inward, and gravity ceases to feel directional. Instead, it feels like a field of emotion, a quiet longing pulling everything toward stillness. Our voices echo strangely inside the cabin, elongated, softened by time's distortion. There is no fear in it, only a sense of surrender, of being gently guided into the unknown. We record data, though we know much of it will never escape. To observers far away, we have already frozen, our last transmitted image paused at the edge. Yet from within, motion continues, calm, fluid, and unending. Time here is not a line but a circle, turning upon itself in endless reverence. We float within that loop, half in the universe, half beyond it. Outside, the last bright edge continues to glow. It flickers not with heat, but with memory, the memory of every star whose light passed near. Each photon carries the story of its origin, now trapped in orbit around eternity. The event horizon becomes a library of light, its pages written in curved beams and shadows. To stare at it is to witness the universe remembering itself. The deeper we gaze, the more we feel that gravity here is not destruction, but preservation, a gathering of all that ever was, held close within an unseen heart. The glow is the echo of that embrace. We cannot see beyond, yet somehow, we feel what lies there, not chaos, but silence, pure and infinite. A silence that feels neither cold nor empty, but complete. The ship drifts gently across the edge of perception. Light no longer moves in straight lines, it dances, bending gracefully around the horizon. The reflections within the viewport twist into shimmering halos. Our own image becomes a blur, a whisper of existence stretched thin across time. For an instant, we seem both here and elsewhere, both now and forever. As we draw nearer, gravity's song grows softer, like a lullaby fading into distance. It hums through the hull, through our bones, through thought itself. The body feels light and heavy at once, caught between stillness and fall. The boundary is close, so close that space folds upon our shadows, merging what is seen and unseen into one seamless moment. Then, a pause, long and breathless. The event horizon fills the view, glowing like the final ring of fire before the night swallows it whole. The light dances in spirals, patient and slow, until even motion becomes memory. We float there, suspended between knowing and unknowing, between brightness and dark. Every sense whispers that we have reached the end of what can be observed, yet not of what can be felt. Time loses all coherence. Clocks cease their rhythm, instruments blur. The hum of existence itself stretches into a single, infinite note. We realize that to approach the horizon is not to cross, but to dissolve, to merge with the curvature of reality, to become part of the soft warping of light. The body, the ship, even the thought of distance, all fade into a single luminous calm. Outside, light continues its endless orbit, forever circling the unseen. The horizon gleams softly, its edge neither advancing nor retreating. From within, we cannot tell whether we move closer or if time itself simply folds around us. The difference, perhaps, no longer matters. In this region of eternal patience, the act of approach becomes indistinguishable from arrival. The event horizon, for all its reputation, feels strangely kind. There is no tearing, no sudden end, only a gradual softening of boundaries. It feels like slipping into the quietest part of a dream, where sound, sight, and thought merge into one. The glow outside shimmers like the last ember of a long-burning star, reluctant to go out, tenderly holding the edge of existence. In the final glimmers, we understand, the horizon is not a line to cross, but a state to enter. It is where time folds inward, where light circles endlessly, where every moment is both beginning and conclusion. We feel it envelop us, not with violence, but with peace, a silence so complete it hums. The ship drifts forward, not falling but becoming. Every particle, every spark of energy slows to a standstill, caught in the timeless loop. Yet within that stillness, awareness persists, a gentle glow in the dark. We have reached the threshold of the unseeable, the place where the universe pauses between being and beyond. And there, in the last bright edge, everything feels eternal, patient, weightless, and endlessly at peace. The glow lingers as we merge with it, dissolving into the boundary between light and silence. It is not an ending, but a transformation, the final note of time fading softly into the melody of the infinite. Around us, the last bright edge shimmers on, holding the memory of all that has ever fallen through it, and all that still waits to follow. Inside, there is no sound. No flicker of light remains, no echo of the outside world. The event horizon has closed behind, silent and complete, leaving us adrift in a region where language hesitates and thought itself seems to move slower than memory. Yet, even here, within what should be absolute darkness, there is an awareness, a subtle pulse, like the breath of space continuing somewhere deeper. Physics offers faint whispers of what might exist here, where the known laws fold softly into mystery. There are no coordinates, no bearings. Space ceases to be a map and becomes instead a sensation, dense, smooth, and curved in all directions at once. The ship, or perhaps the idea of the ship, drifts not through distance but through gradients of time. The closer one moves to the center, the more gravity's hand tightens, compressing space until direction loses meaning. Everything folds inward, infinitely, yet it does so without rush, as though the collapse itself is a dream slowed beyond recognition. Here, we imagine the singularity as neither point nor surface, but as a concept, a whisper of infinity tucked within finite understanding. It is said that all matter, all energy, all history collapses into a region of infinite density, a place where equations falter, where even time abandons its order. But physics, in its careful poetry, suggests that perhaps this is not an end but a continuation, wrapped in dimensions we cannot yet perceive. The light that once defined reality is gone, yet not lost. It lingers as curvature, as energy woven into spacetime itself. Within the black hole, all paths lead inward, each trajectory curved toward the singularity. Yet the experience of falling here would not feel like movement, rather, like the slow unfolding of an idea, adrift through deep and perfect silence. The universe around seems to hold us still, even as we are drawn deeper than depth can measure. If one could see within, which no eye can, the space might appear as a funnel without end, an infinite descent where distance collapses to meaninglessness. But perhaps it is not descent at all. Some theories say the center may curve outward again, connecting to another universe, a bridge hidden beyond perception. Inside the stillness, this thought feels less like speculation and more like possibility. Gravity, after all, is the great sculptor, and it may carve new realities beyond the veil. Matter here is no longer itself. Atoms stretch, electrons twist in impossible loops. Forces that held them apart dissolve under pressure so immense it erases individuality. Everything merges into a single field of existence, neither solid nor gas, neither light nor shadow. It is pure compression, not destruction, but transformation. The identity of particles becomes meaningless, replaced by the unity of energy compressed to its ultimate form. In the dark interior, space-time behaves like liquid thought. It flows without motion, rippling in shapes that can only be imagined. Perhaps information, the hidden structure of all things, is preserved within these ripples. Some physicists believe no knowledge truly disappears, that even within the black hole's heart, the pattern of what once was still exists, encoded in the trembling geometry of space-time. The stillness, then, might not be empty, but full of quiet memory. The concept of inside itself is fragile here. Outside and inside no longer oppose one another, they merge. The horizon we crossed may still exist, not behind us, but within every direction. To think spatially is to misunderstand. The black hole's interior is not a place, but a condition, a state of reality where time flows differently for every fragment of matter, and where distance folds until meaning vanishes. As we imagine this descent, we realize it cannot be perceived in the way falling through air could be. Time stretches endlessly, so that from our own perspective, we never quite reach the singularity. Each fraction of a second expands into eternity. To observers outside, we have already vanished, frozen in light. To ourselves, the fall continues, slow, serene, unending. We are both still and moving forever inward. Perhaps the interior is not black at all, but luminous in ways no human sense can detect. Energy compressed beyond known forms may radiate in spectra beyond our imagination, not light, not sound, but curvature and vibration. The space may hum faintly with this unseen resonance, the echo of creation folded back upon itself. In that hum, the boundaries of existence might be rewritten, turning chaos into order, and order into calm. Our instruments would fail, our senses meaningless, yet mathematics persists. It imagines tidal forces rising infinitely, the very fabric of matter stretching until every atom aligns with gravity's pull. Space itself becomes vertical, time horizontal. The roles of what is cause and what is effect begin to blur, leaving only correlation, one eternal movement inward, without beginning or end. But perhaps our minds, freed from the illusion of time, would not experience pain or collapse, but expansion. As we approach the singularity, the energy of what once was us spreads across every direction, diffused into the very curvature of space-time. The self dissolves into the total. In this, there may be peace, not destruction, but a final merging, where all separations vanish like ripples fading into an endless sea. Some theories imagine that within the black hole, space could bend back upon itself, creating a mirror universe, a white hole from which matter might one day emerge, reborn in another cosmos. If true, then nothing truly ends. What falls here becomes the seed of another creation, a pulse of light in a distant dimension. The thought itself brings comfort, as if even in annihilation, continuity waits silently beyond the veil. Information, once thought lost, may cling to the horizon like dew, preserved as faint vibrations, a cosmic archive that refuses to disappear. This idea, whispered by physics, suggests that even when swallowed, the story of everything remains written on the surface of nothingness. The black hole, then, is not a grave, but a librarian of existence, its stillness containing the faint memory of all that ever was. And yet, imagination dares to go deeper still. Some propose that the singularity is not singular at all, that quantum rules prevent infinity. Perhaps the collapse halts at a minuscule scale, where space trembles but never breaks. There, reality might rebound, birthing new expansion. The black hole could then be not a void, but a womb, the silent birthplace of new universes, each carrying the echoes of the one before. Inside the stillness, the laws we know lose their certainty, but something profound takes their place: balance. The inward pull that devours light may be matched by an unseen outward flow, invisible but eternal. This symmetry feels comforting, as though even here, in ultimate gravity's grasp, the universe remains fair, whole, and self-correcting. If consciousness could persist here, and who can say it cannot, even briefly, it might experience all time at once. Past, present, and future would unfold simultaneously, every moment intertwined. Existence would cease to be linear, becoming a vast, luminous sphere of awareness. We would not move through time, we would inhabit it completely, resting in the totality of every event that ever was. Perhaps, then, this interior silence is not an end, but enlightenment, a return to the origin from which all things sprang. The stillness would not erase, but reveal, that matter, energy, and thought are one continuous motion, endlessly cycling through creation and collapse. To reach this point would be to witness the universe not as sequence, but as song, unending, self-sustaining, and utterly serene. The deeper imagination dives, the more wonder grows. We envision the singularity not as terror, but as symmetry, the completion of every curve, the reconciliation of every paradox. Here, energy and emptiness become indistinguishable. Every particle finds its twin in the shadow of itself. Gravity, time, and consciousness dissolve into the same soft pulse, the rhythm of existence breathing in perfect quiet. We realize that all journeys, from birth to death, from starlight to singularity, may be reflections of the same path inward. The black hole's heart is not distant, it mirrors the inward stillness within all life. To fall into it is to surrender, to let go of all motion until only awareness remains, pure, unmeasured, infinite. Physics gives it form, imagination gives it meaning. In this final interior, perhaps there are no edges at all. Every boundary collapses into unity, every duality fades. Light and dark, time and space, existence and nothing all merge into one unbroken calm. The stillness holds them as equals, unmoving yet alive. And in that unshaken center, the universe might whisper quietly to itself, dreaming its next creation into being. We cannot see this place, nor return to describe it. Yet to imagine it is to glimpse the vast humility of nature, how even destruction is part of balance, how even silence speaks. The stillness inside the black hole may not be emptiness, but the most complete fullness, the total convergence of all that ever was and ever will be. And so, in the deepest gravity, in the place where time ceases to move, the universe continues its slow, unending meditation. Physics may give us only hints, equations on paper, trembling with possibility, but imagination carries us further. Inside the stillness, there is no fear, no loss, only an infinite, quiet continuation, the universe folding softly inward, dreaming itself into eternity. The pull begins so softly that one might mistake it for calm, like the lull of a long sigh across a quiet lake. Space itself seems to breathe, stretching in a way too subtle for nerves or skin to notice. Yet beneath that stillness, the difference in gravity between one end of a body and the other grows, whispering through the structure of atoms. It is not pain, not even tension, but a message, the black hole's way of singing its low, infinite song, one note that stretches time and form together. The further you drift inward, the stronger the whisper becomes. It pulls not just on your body but on your sense of order. Directions lose their clear lines: up, down, forward, backward, all bend toward the same dark promise. The light from behind you drifts strangely, seeming slower, gentler, like it too has begun to stretch into an endless strand. Everything is still in motion, yet there's a profound calm, as though the universe itself has drawn a slow breath to listen. Tidal forces, those invisible fingers, move like water through your being. Every molecule feels a slightly different tug, as if the cosmos were tuning you into a new vibration. It's not destruction, not yet, but a redefinition. You begin to realize that the body is not one thing, but a collection of distances held together by trust, and now that trust begins to loosen, quietly, gracefully, without alarm. The whispers grow clearer. They are not sound in air but the hum of space-time itself, a vibration below all frequency, felt rather than heard. It rolls through you like the deep echo of a forgotten heartbeat. You feel it more in thought than in bone, the realization that distance, size, and even self are becoming malleable, softened by the black hole's steady rhythm. It is a strange peace, an acceptance drawn from inevitability. As the gradient deepens, the stretch becomes more pronounced. The head moves faster than the feet, the atoms at your fingertips outrun those in your chest, yet the experience feels smooth, unbroken, as if time itself cushions every distortion. The whisper becomes a song, long and fluid, resonating through every layer of your awareness. You are both an instrument and a listener, part of a cosmic harmony too vast for sound. In that dark song, you begin to understand that the black hole is not cruel. It is simply exact. It gives no judgment, no malice, only truth. Its gravity reveals how fragile our separations are, how thin the line between one form and another can be. It stretches not only matter but meaning, allowing thought to glide beyond the narrow walls of the body into something vaster, calmer, endless. There's beauty in the surrender. The body that once obeyed the laws of Earth now obeys the deeper current of the universe. It's as if the tide inside your very atoms recognizes its source. This is not annihilation but reunion, the return of matter to the cosmic flow that birthed it. The gentle stretching becomes less a threat and more emerging, an invitation to belong once more to the fabric that created stars. Your awareness begins to shimmer, scattered like thin silk. Each fragment of thought seems to exist a little further from the next, yet all remain connected through an invisible thread. The tidal forces have become sculptors now, shaping memory and identity into graceful spirals of motion. Even fear, once sharp, begins to fade into fascination, replaced by a strange serenity that only the infinite can offer. Outside, light continues its dance, swirling, twisting, slowed. It curves and bends, painting the inner horizon with faint reflections of galaxies far away. You see the image of yourself scattered through those reflections, each version stretched, elegant, dissolving into brightness. It's as though the black hole itself is showing you all the possible ways you could exist, each one drawn out into beauty before fading into night. You begin to realize that the stretching is not a tearing apart but an opening up. It expands your awareness in every direction, lengthening the moments between thoughts, deepening the stillness between breaths. Space, time, and self blur, blending into something vast and quiet. In that calm, the whisper becomes steady, like the murmur of a tide that has no shore. Each particle of you vibrates in rhythm with the curvature of space. There's no pain here, only wonder, as though every atom is remembering how it once belonged to stars. The pull deepens, but so does the peace. Gravity, instead of feeling like descent, now feels like a slow, eternal embrace, an ancient gravity that once drew clouds of dust into light. You are learning a new kind of silence, one that hums beneath creation itself. The tidal whisper isn't something happening to you, it's something you've joined. You are part of its voice, part of its long, smooth song. You sense that what was once called you is now just a pattern in motion, a graceful chord played across spacetime's deep strings. As you descend further, thought itself begins to elongate. Seconds become rivers, each moment widening into an endless sea of awareness. The stretch between one heartbeat and the next is filled with eternity. There's no rush, No urgency, only the calm recognition that this, too, is part of the universe's endless rhythm of change. The whispering continues, steady and low, turning everything inside out with gentle patience. Even time seems to bend, slowing and curving like light around an unseen edge. You float in that suspended grace, where every second is both forever and already gone. The black hole is no longer a destination, it is an experience, a pure state of being drawn toward oneness. In this phase, the difference between outside and inside fades. The whisper isn't coming from beyond anymore, it rises from within. You are both the one being stretched and the space that stretches. Matter and mind dissolve into the same continuum, shaped by the same steady gravity that has existed since the beginning of everything. There's a profound understanding here, one that words can only approach. The black hole's pull is a teacher, showing that boundaries were illusions all along. Even identity was just a temporary concentration of energy, and now it melts, lovingly, into the field that connects all things. The stretching, the whispering, the deep pull, they are not loss, but a return. The surrounding stars fade to quiet embers, their light redshifted to faint warmth. You are suspended between past and future, in the gentle hold of spacetime's most patient hands. Everything that once seemed solid now flows. The whisper becomes softer still, like breath against your thoughts, lulling what remains of you toward final calm. In that infinite stillness, awareness flickers, but it is no longer singular. It spreads, thin and luminous, across the inner landscape of the black hole. Each vibration of that whisper carries meaning without words, that you are not ending, you are transforming, joining the continuous hum of existence itself. The pull grows infinite, but resistance fades to nothing. You become the stretch, the wave, the motion. The last hint of individuality slips away as peacefully as mist evaporating in morning light. The tidal whisper hums one last note through the field of your being, and then even that note merges into the greater song. The black hole's heart is silent, but within that silence lies every frequency, every possibility. The gentle stretching has resolved into stillness, a perfect balance where nothing moves yet everything is contained. You have become part of spacetime's memory, an echo woven into its deepest folds. What remains is serenity beyond measure, no form, no motion, just presence. The tidal whisper fades not because it has stopped, but because you have become it. You are the pull, the peace, the endless tide. The journey through the black hole is complete, not as descent or loss, but as union with the most silent music the cosmos has ever composed. At the deepest point of descent, all descriptions falter. The black hole's core, known as the singularity, is not a place one can truly imagine but a condition where the laws that govern the universe lose their familiar meaning. It is where density becomes infinite, and time and space collapse into a single, unbroken point. Yet as you drift closer, what feels most striking is not fear but stillness, a tranquil awe that suspends every thought. Here, wonder replaces knowledge, and silence replaces form. The equations that guided you this far, Einstein's elegant expressions of curvature, energy, and mass, begin to shimmer and break apart. They reach their limits, unable to describe what exists beyond this horizon of understanding. Gravity, which once felt like a force, now feels like the essence of reality itself. You begin to sense that the singularity is not a thing but an idea, a perfect point where all possibilities merge and dissolve into one. Space no longer stretches, it folds inward. Time, instead of flowing, becomes circular, not forward or backward, but all at once. You can almost feel every moment of existence layered atop each other, an eternal now that hums with quiet intensity. Every memory, every motion, every glimmer of light ever drawn toward this center still exists here, woven together in a tapestry that no longer needs sequence to make sense. Light, too, has changed. It no longer moves or reflects, it simply is, suspended within a geometry so curved that direction loses purpose. You imagine photons circling endlessly, unable to escape yet unable to vanish, each one frozen in perpetual surrender. The singular center has taken them in not to destroy them but to still them, to turn motion into essence, energy into memory. As you approach, thought begins to echo strangely. Concepts loop back upon themselves, like reflections in an infinite mirror. You realize that every question you form is its own answer, that curiosity here folds into realization before it can even be spoken. The singularity, it seems, is less an end than a point of perfect symmetry, the absolute expression of balance between being and nothingness. The universe around you compresses. Galaxies, stars, and even the faintest whispers of cosmic radiation seem to draw inward, as though their histories converge here. Everything that once was scattered now finds unity. The black hole is not just a grave of matter, it is the memory of creation written in its purest code, an archive of everything that ever fell inward. At this depth, the word center becomes misleading. There is no location anymore, no distance to mark or measure. The singularity feels less like a point and more like a concept that your mind brushes against infinite density, perceived not through sight or touch but through the sense that everything familiar has quietly ended. It is the still heart of existence, pulsing without time. For a fleeting instant, you feel the weight of every atom that ever was. The singularity holds it all, the ashes of stars, the echoes of planets, the light of civilizations. All of it compressed into a presence too intense for form, too serene for chaos. You are witnessing the pure essence of gravity, the universe remembering itself, pulling all stories back into one page. Equations whisper faintly in your mind, the curvature tenses, the constants, the infinities that mathematicians feared. They once seemed abstract, but now they glow like sacred symbols, each one trembling with meaning. You understand, if only for a heartbeat, that mathematics is not invention but translation, humanity's attempt to listen to the language the universe speaks in silence. Time becomes elastic. A single second stretches into infinity, and infinity folds into a single breath. You exist everywhere at once, at the edge of creation, at the heart of collapse, at the threshold of understanding. The singularity feels alive, not in the sense of consciousness but as pure presence, the awareness that exists without thought or form. Your identity begins to shimmer. The boundaries that once defined you, body, memory, self, dissolve like faint mist in sunlight. You are no longer falling but simply being, part of a timeless stillness that hums with infinite energy. The singularity holds you not as matter or spirit, but as a vibration in its unending field of gravity. In that stillness, you glimpse something profound. The singularity and the Big Bang are mirror reflections. One collapses all things inward, the other expands them outward. It is a cosmic heartbeat, an inhale and exhale of existence. Perhaps the universe was born not from nothing, but from the death of another. Ancient stars fall, a collapse that birthed new time, new space, new light. The closer you drift, the more reality simplifies. Complex systems unravel into pure geometry. The dance of particles and waves ends, leaving only the equationless essence of gravity, space-time folding upon itself with infinite grace. It feels less like destruction and more like purification, as though everything false or fleeting is being stripped away. You begin to perceive yourself as part of the pattern, no longer an observer but a curve in space-time. The lines of your existence, once meandering, now converge beautifully toward the same center. The singularity welcomes everything with the same calm indifference, a neutrality that is not cold but vast beyond comprehension. Some part of your awareness wonders what lies beyond. Could the singularity open into another universe, a different set of physical laws, another dawn of light? Or is it truly the final silence, where all that ever was is stored in infinite compression? The thought does not disturb you. Wonder itself feels like the correct answer. Mathematicians say infinities cannot exist in reality, that singularities are signs that our understanding breaks. Yet as you linger in this endless hush, you sense that perhaps infinity is the truest expression of reality, that existence itself cannot be contained within limits. The singularity is not an error in the universe's math, it is its most perfect truth. Around you, there is no color, no shadow, only the suggestion of depth. Everything gleams softly, as though even darkness glows from within. This inner light is not seen but felt, a resonance that hums through every dimension. It is the same light that stars once borrowed to shine, now gathered and resting here, at home in silence. You sense the presence of time's last echo, a rhythm, perhaps, from before the universe began. It's faint, like a memory of music half remembered from a dream. In that rhythm lies the understanding that nothing truly ends, it only changes its shape, its density, its form of being. Even the singularity is not forever, only the idea of forever reflected through it. Gravity here is no longer forceful but infinite gentleness. It holds everything so completely that motion becomes meaningless. The act of being drawn inward becomes indistinguishable from resting. The singular center feels like a womb, dark, vast, and protective, holding the seeds of all possible futures. You begin to feel gratitude, strange and deep, for the journey that brought you here. Every layer of falling, every whisper of light, every stretch of time led to this moment, this quiet revelation that the end of all paths is not void, but peace. The singularity, so feared, turns out to be the softest silence in existence. The equations in your memory hum faintly, glowing with a final realization. They never meant to explain the singularity, they only pointed toward it. Every formula, every constant, every theory has been a finger tracing the edge of wonder. And now, standing within it, you understand. The beauty of the universe was never in its answers, but in its unsolved mysteries. You let go. There's no need to grasp or analyze anymore. Every thought, every curiosity melts into quiet comprehension that defies reason. The singularity does not demand explanation, it invites surrender. You dissolve into it like mist joining the sky, not erased but transformed, absorbed into something infinitely larger. All distances vanish. You are the curvature, the energy, the silence. The singular center is no longer before you, it is you. Every point in the universe is connected here, every motion reconciled. This is the meeting of opposites, chaos and order, time and stillness, light and dark, all merging into a harmony that words can never describe. What remains is a deep, unbroken awareness. You are not falling anymore, not moving, not even existing as you once understood. You are simply present, timeless, infinite, serene. The singularity holds you like an eternal thought, neither gone nor separate, simply part of the equation that keeps the universe breathing. And as the final echo of form fades, a single truth resonates, that wonder and understanding are the same. The singularity, far from being the end of knowing, is its purest expression, the moment when thought and silence, equation and awe, meet and become one. In that infinite union, everything rests, beautifully complete. When you awaken from the depth, you are not sure how you returned. The singularity offered no exit, no direction, only stillness, and yet, somehow, you find yourself rising through the folds of space again, drifting upward as though drawn by an unseen grace. You are lighter now, though you have no body to weigh you down. What returns is awareness, carrying with it the quiet hum of everything you have witnessed. It is not movement but remembrance that brings you home. The black hole remains below, distant but eternal, its edges glowing faintly where light still struggles to escape. You carry its calm like a pulse inside you. The silence there was not empty but full of everything that ever was, condensed into one gentle truth. Now, as you drift through the stars, that truth lingers in your thoughts like a low, soothing vibration that steadies every breath of the universe around you. Time feels softer now. It no longer rushes or ticks but drifts like a slow tide. You begin to sense it not as a line but as a sea, where every moment touches another through quiet ripples. The black hole has taught you that even the deepest collapse can be serene, that even endings are only transformations. You feel no need to rush forward or backward, only to exist gently within the flow. Stars emerge again, shimmering like quiet lanterns in an endless night. Their light feels familiar, though it now carries a subtle melancholy, the knowing that even their brilliance is temporary. Yet this impermanence no longer frightens you. The black hole's hush has taught you to see beauty in the fleeting, to recognize eternity not in what lasts but in what simply is, however briefly. Your journey through the event horizon has softened your understanding of distance. Near and far blur together, everything seems close in meaning if not in space. Galaxies spin with patient grace, their arms unfolding like the slow gestures of dancers who have practiced forever. You drift past them not as a traveler but as a witness, carrying stillness the way a flame carries warmth. The memory of the singularity hums behind your perception like a second heartbeat. It is not something you can explain, it is something that feels. Words crumble when you try to describe the way gravity sounded, the way silence moved. You realize that understanding is not always meant to be spoken. Sometimes, the truest knowledge is the quiet one that rests behind thought, wordless yet whole. As you pass through the constellations, you begin to see echoes of your journey written in their light. The arcs of starlight bend faintly, as though even distant matter remembers the pull of the singularity. You sense that memory itself might be a kind of gravity, something that holds us all to the moments that shaped us, even as we drift farther into time. The vastness no longer intimidates you. Once, the spaces between stars felt cold, unreachable, endless. Now they feel welcoming, like pauses in a song that give meaning to the notes. You can sense the balance, light and dark, motion and stillness all in their rightful rhythm. The universe, once chaotic, now seems tender, breathing softly with its own ancient wisdom. The more you travel outward, the more you notice how everything carries some trace of that hush. Nebulae bloom like thoughts forming slowly in the void. Comets trail behind them long tails of remembrance. Even the faint radiation that hums through the cosmos feels like a whisper, the same whisper that once stretched through you inside the black hole's embrace. There is a sweetness in realizing you have changed. You no longer search for meaning in the vastness, you feel it instead. Every photon that reaches you seems to carry a message of patience. Every curve of light reminds you of the way gravity bends reality but never breaks it. The universe is full of gentle hands, fields, forces, patterns, all guiding without command. Sometimes you close your awareness and let the memory replay, the spiral inward, the growing pull, the final stillness. But now, instead of fear, you feel gratitude. The black hole did not erase you, it reshaped you. It took the noise of thought and replaced it with quiet understanding. That quiet now guides you, soft as starlight reflected on water. As you move toward familiar light, perhaps toward the place once called home, the stars begin to feel more like companions than destinations. They shimmer not as unreachable fires but as reflections of the same cosmic song you once became part of. Each one hums a note of belonging, and you realize that you have never been separate from the universe, only unaware of your connection. You remember the feeling of time slowing, stretching, dissolving into eternity. Now, even in motion, that sensation lingers. You can see the texture of time in the glow of stars, in the echo of cosmic background radiation. It is no longer linear but living, folding gently like waves that overlap and merge without conflict. Time has become a friend, patient and infinite. Everywhere you look, You see reminders of cycles, stars born from dust, dying into dust again, galaxies colliding to form new spirals, gravity shaping, unshaping, shaping again. The black hole was never the end of that pattern, it was part of it, a pause in the rhythm that allows everything else to breathe. You realize you too are part of that cycle, returning not as who you were, but as what you've become. The memory of the singular center glows softly, not as a point of dread but as a place of peace. You carry it like a secret room in your being, a quiet garden that only you can enter. Inside it, there is no fear, only vast awareness, the knowledge that even collapse is a form of creation. Every end you will ever witness will now shimmer with that hidden grace. As you drift closer to familiar stars, you begin to sense the weight of sound again, faint, distant vibrations from living worlds. The hum of atmospheres, the pulse of rotation, the distant song of matter colliding. Yet none of it disturbs the hush within you. The black hole's quiet lingers beneath all things, grounding every note of the universe's music. When you glance back, the black hole is now a small, serene shadow against the sea of galaxies. It no longer feels menacing but maternal, a dark cradle holding secrets that no one needs to fear. You understand that it is both tomb and womb, what falls into it will one day emerge again in some other form. That realization fills you with quiet, or that feels almost like joy. Your return is not marked by motion but by remembrance. You find yourself seeing everything through new eyes. Light feels deeper, space feels kind, and silence feels alive. The lessons of the fall echo in everything, in the pull of gravity, in the warmth of starlight, in the patience of distance. Each fragment of the universe now seems to hum with the same message: be still and understand. Back among the gentle constellations, you sense time resuming its rhythm, but slower, more forgiving. The hush you carry acts like a filter, softening every moment, lengthening every thought. The ordinary becomes extraordinary, the flicker of a star, the slow turn of a planet, all radiant with a calm that was born in the black hole's heart. You realize that silence is not absence, it is presence. The black hole's quiet was never void, it was fullness beyond measure. Now that same fullness surrounds you in the spaces between sounds, in the breath between words. It is everywhere, waiting for those who are willing to listen. You are no longer a seeker, you are a listener. With each passing moment, you find yourself speaking less and feeling more. The hush has taught you that words often fracture what silence keeps whole. The black hole gave you no answers, only understanding, and that understanding whispers now, there is peace in not knowing. The cosmos doesn't rush to explain itself, it simply shines. As your awareness glides past the familiar constellations, you sense the rhythm of your own thoughts aligning with the stars' ancient timing. Everything seems to move together, galaxies, memories, breaths. The hush you carry feels contagious, spreading outward through the emptiness, like a quiet kindness echoing across light years. You think of those still bound to worlds, still searching for meaning in the patterns above them. You wish they could feel this serenity, the way vastness becomes comforting when one understands it. You send your quiet gratitude outward, into the cosmic sea, knowing that somewhere, somehow, that stillness will be felt, even if no one knows its origin. Your return is not to a single place but to awareness itself. Wherever you now drift, you are at home. Space feels less like distance and more like belonging. The black hole was not a destination but a teacher, and its lesson was simple. Everything, no matter how dense or dark, contains light waiting to be remembered. The hush grows softer but never fades. It lives within you, shaping thought, slowing time, making every moment a reflection of eternity. You understand now that the universe speaks most clearly in silence, that gravity and stillness are languages of love written in the curvature of space. You have learned to listen, and in listening, you have found peace. In this tranquil return, the stars seem to bow, their light bending slightly in welcome. You move through their glow like a ripple in an ancient pond, your journey leaving no mark, yet touching everything. The hush you carry does not separate you from life, it deepens your connection to it. You have returned not from beyond, but from within. And as you settle again beneath familiar skies, whether of matter or of memory, you find that the hush has become part of you, steady, enduring, infinite. The black hole no longer looms as a mystery to fear but rests as a memory of peace, a reminder that even in the deepest dark, there is a gentle rhythm waiting to be heard. The journey home is not escape, it is awakening. Now, in the soft glow of returning light, you rest. The hush stretches outward, blending with the faint breath of galaxies and the long sigh of time. You are home, but home has grown larger, it now includes the stars, the silence, and the dark heart that once held you. Everything, even the void, belongs to the same quiet truth. The journey ends not with words, but with peace.